on Ben George, that V in the back of the racing overalls. We're at halfway race distance, 11 laps gone, 11 to go in the DD2 Grand Final. And remember, DD2 is unique. DD, direct drive, two speeds. You can clip a paddle, just press a paddle on the driving wheel and change gear. It's not a gearbox class like 125 ICC or like the supercarts, but in the direct drive karting arena, this is unique. The two-speed gearbox in direct drive started a couple of years ago as RM1, but now all of the other manufacturers are invited to run their version of the chassis carrying the DD2. Well, Wesley Orr as a works driver for CRG is mounted on a CRG, and Arnold Neveling in second place is representing PCR. So Arnold Neveling and Wesley Orr, works drivers in effect. Arnold not a full-blown works driver, but getting the equivalent of the drive. Well, Arnold Neveling, who I did invite you to reflect, was eating into Wesley Orr's lead. I have to tell you, the lead is now up to a second, and your television screens are showing you that the lead has widened. Here is the world champion. Wesley Orr won his first world title at Lanzarote in the Canary Isles. That I think was in, this was in January 2005. And then the next World Finals were held little less than a full year later in November 2005 at Langkawi, Malaysia. Wesley Orr was invited to defend the title in the two-speed class and duly obliged by retaining the title. Arnold Neveling, never a world title, but South African junior honours and going the way of senior honours even in Europe. Incidentally, Arnold Neveling in shot now. He first came from South Africa to Salbris, France, to race in Europe for the first time. He won his first 3 races in Europe. This young man in screen now, Arnold Neveling, came from South Africa. First ever race in Europe, he won it. Second one, he won it. Third, he won it. But then something a little bit naughty happened. It began to rain. And South African drivers don't do a lot of driving in the rain, and Arnold Neveling rather lost his momentum. It's a similar story to when Wesley Orr first came over in 2004. He drove in the RM1 class, here he is, and when it rained at Pomposa, and boy, how did it rain on that occasion, lapping a back marker who was very, very courteous and getting right off the racing line. Wesley Orr was very much at sea when the rains came, but the next time it rained he was just a little bit better and then improved again, and now if it rains, well, Wesley Orr says, hey, I'm a world champion, wet or dry, it doesn't matter. So Arnold Neveling, although that was disappointing that the rains took his winning streak, nevertheless it's how you learn, and when you're in a teenager you've got to be learning. There is Arnold Neveling, I think 16 years of age, Wesley Orr 18 years of age, so these two very, very young and still plenty ahead of them. And now again you see that, I use the word aggressive, look at the shoulders, look at the elbows, look at the rigid arm and the fixed expression. Well, you can't see the expression in the helmet, but the fixed head angle. Really determined driving by Wesley Orr. He took a little bit of a breather possibly earlier on, but now with 7 laps to go, he's got a lead of over 1¼ seconds. Arnold Neveling coming into shot at the chicane, but it's a long way to the 3rd place driver, Toms Bobrovskis, then Ben George in 4th place, Peter Scaples 5th, and Mike Barton in 6th place. Andreas Mattis 7th, Alexander Winkler 8th, Jerry Hargitay 9th, and Lothar Vincent 10th. Well, yes, there's the differentials look. Well, a little bit erratic maybe. 1.37 difference, then 1.29, then 1.35. But I think what it means is if Arnold Neveling is reeling in Wesley Orr, Wesley can do something about it. He can achieve that little bit extra. We're at the 2/3 race distance, aren't we, in 22 lap racing. 6 to go. Arnold Neveling trailing Wesley Orr. Toms Bobrovskis, 150 yards behind them, 150 metres perhaps. Dennis Ladfoged's charge from the back in 20th place seems to have ended at 12th place, and Manolis Samariadakis doing a little bit better in 11th place there. Well, Pedro Lores had some considerable misfortune. Pedro Lores at the foot of the leaderboard, but this man at the head of the leaderboard. Wow. Well, Wesley Orr driving a little bit strongly there, wasn't he? Again, not in a dirty sense, just attacking the circuit. Arnold Neveling doing much the same. I'm quite sure that Arnold Neveling will be able to see this in 2 veins. He'll be disappointed to be beaten, any racing driver would, but again he's learning, and he's learning from somebody who he knows very well and who is a good friend of his. So all of that makes sense. Wesley Orr leads, Arnold Neveling in second place. And there again you see the graphics, a 2-second margin unfolding now. Wesley Orr and Arnold Neveling. 1.35, 1.32, 1.36, the differentials over the last 3 laps between the first and second drivers. Kart number 615, Wesley Orr. Well, Wesley Orr is born in South Africa. He came to race in Europe this year, started off in Belgium with the Swiss Hutlers team, but it went a little bit wrong. He's now based in Italy, near Lonato, driving for CRG. He's been karting altogether for 10 years, got the 3 World Championships, which we've mentioned. He loves being in Rotax, and he was telling me earlier today he really feels that Rotax and RGMMC have helped him up the ladder in terms of the motorsport career. Sponsored, as I say, by CRG and X-Suit Racewear, X2, who support him with racewear, and his father Hewitt. 3 laps to go, 3 laps to go. I hear the klaxon, which tells me 3 laps to go. Well, back markers showing very good manners there, getting off the racing line, so absolutely no harm. That was Pedro Lores, who we'll give a round of applause to. Pedro, thoroughly a gentleman. Pedro Lores, who's just been lapped. There he is in the back of the shot of this particular shot. There he is, Pedro Lores. He didn't start racing karts until he was over 40. Can you imagine that? You've got 2 teenagers leading the race, but Pedro Lores had turned 40 before he even started racing. 2 laps to go, 2 laps to go. The race leaders have 2 laps to go. This is turn 1 that you see. And Arnold Neveling following Wesley Orr down turn 2 and onto the back straight. This is the chicane through the back straight where they regularly clip that curb. And then the longer back straight in front of the grandstand. A nice racing view, that grandstand. The hairpin tribune. Arnold Neveling, the yellow racing overalls, easy to identify for a series commentator, especially on a sunny day. But I'm afraid I'm identifying them in second place today, Arnold, rather than in first place. The first place racing overalls are the CRG Works liveried overalls. There they are in the hands or on the body of Wesley Orr. Alex Winkler, 1 lap to go, still holding his place in the top 10, which would be the best I've seen him for quite a while. Dennis Ladforget eventually moves off 12th place into 11th place. I think that's at the expense of Lothar Vinzen. Well, Pedro Lores, who we saw being lapped moments ago, confirmed. Oh, and a little bit of lapping there. That was not good. That was uncomfortable. And Wesley Orr puts his hand up to say, thank you, sorry, that was my fault. Well, I don't think that the back marker had done an awful lot wrong there, and Wesley Orr acknowledging that he had a little bit of a problem going through. But all's well that ends well. Nobody's upset, and we're on the last lap. This is the race leader, Wesley Orr, kart number 615, heading to his victory. The DD2 Grand Final. The checkered flag is raised. The left-hander, and there goes the right arm in the air, and Wesley Orr wins from Arnold Neveling in second place. The back marker going through there, and coming up to take third place now. There he is, Toms Bobrovskis finishes in third place. In fourth place, we're looking for Ben George. Ben George does finish fourth. Peter Scafell's fifth. I think Mike Barton, the next finisher scheduled. Yes, there goes Mike Barton, 15-year-old Mike Barton from Holland, finishing in sixth place. But in shot now, Wesley Orr. He's happy with that, isn't he? He's won a lot, but he's happy with this one. I think I understand how he feels, because he's had a couple of big leads in races this weekend in the heats, and then had mechanical problems going out. So it's never over until it's all over. But Wesley Orr may have won world titles, may have won other major meetings, but right now he's happy to have won the DD2 Rotax Grand Final 2006 at round 3 here at Austria.